Hello and welcome to the Pinkhairgirl podcast. This is episode 21. I was going to title it about new stuff and new beginnings and all that for New Year, but I'm just going to call it That Stupid Chicken. Because I have now tried to start this recording about 450 million zillion times, and our chickens are having a little drama outside. So they have been squawking since before 6 o'clock this morning, and it is now 11 o'clock. And I'm not impressed, so I cannot even imagine what my neighbors must be thinking. We have 3 chickens, and 2 sides of the laying box. So there's 2 nesting areas in the laying box, and they could go in either one of those. And I have a broody chicken that's staying in the one side of the nesting box, but they all want to only lay eggs on that side of the box. So now she's sitting there and she pecks at the other chickens if they come in and want to lay eggs, and the others want to lay eggs, so they scream the whole morning, the whole morning, because they want to now get in the nesting box. So I took her out and locked her out in the garden so that they could go in and lay eggs. And then she's squawking because she wants to go back in there. So I give them like a good hour to lay the eggs so I can let her back in so she can stop squawking and everybody can be happy. Let her back in, and she goes straight back into the nesting box, and they all start squawking again because they're not finished or whatever. I don't know. So now I have finally caught the chicken that is squawking, and I have put her in a cardboard box with water and food and air, and closed her in the garage until I'm finished podcasting. That stupid chicken. Anyway, that was a very long introduction. If you are new to my podcast, don't worry. I don't normally start off the episode with an enormous rant about my livestock. But yeah, so be it. This is episode 21, and it's really great to have you. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And I hope you're going to enjoy this episode with me. So it's a new year, 2015. Welcome to 2015, the first Pinkhairgirl podcast of the new year. Hope you guys had a good New Year's. Ours was really quiet, and I must admit it was absolutely perfect. We were just at home, just the 5 of us, and played in the garden. Those of you that are on Instagram might have seen I put up a picture of the children playing in the sprinkler. You know, it was really hot that day. One of the most sort of humid, sort of hot days we've had so far. And so the children were playing in the garden in the sprinkler and spraying each other in water guns and lots of shrieking and laughter. And the geek made a braai barbecue. And Rachel and Caleb also helped to braai because they are doing a part of their cub badge is a cooking. They had to do some sort of cooking. They had to do, I mean, there's other cooking they've got to make a meal inside, blah, blah, but the one section of the cub badge is to braai some meat and cook potatoes on the fire. So they both did that. And yeah, so we just had a braai, and then we watched a movie with the children, and they went to bed. And then I was finishing my Christmas socks because I wanted to finish them before I could cast on my that was sort of old Year's Eve on the 31st. And then as it ticked over to midnight, I wanted to be able to cast on my New Year's socks in the yarn that I showed you last time. So that's what I did. I knitted and we watched a bit of TV, and we did pop some champagne at midnight, which was quite nice. So we had that, and then we went to bed, you know. There are some benefits for like getting older and not feeling like you have to go out and party a whole lot on New Year's. I mean, it's fun every now and again, but I must admit I'm embracing my older age and enjoying seeing the new year in just, you know, at home and doing sort of quiet stuff. The other thing that I said we were going to do during the holidays was tidying up. And I did, and I think my kids, we spent most of Emma's leave tidying up, and I have sworn that this year we are going to keep it tidy because I do not want to do this again the entire leave next December. And as I said last time, we decluttered, it must have been 40 to 50 bags of stuff, either rubbish or donations last year. And this year I think we're on 21 bags of rubbish and recycling. I haven't counted the boxes to go to charity yet. So yeah, and a big reshuffle and a big reorganize and all the rest. So yeah, I'm really hoping that I read that book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying by, I think, what was her name? Let me just check. I wrote it down. Marie Kondo. It's very interesting. I mean, I've read lots of decluttering books before, and the difference with hers is that it's not, you know, if you haven't used it in so many months, then, you know, throw it away. Or if you haven't used it, put it in a box and then see if you haven't used it over the next 6 months and then throw it away. It's her only criteria for keeping something is that you must sort by categories. You've got to get, for example, your clothes, all of them in one place. And then you must handle each one and decide if it brings you joy. Like, that's the only criteria. For everything you keep, it must be, does this bring me joy? And it's quite interesting because it actually is a bit of a mindset change to decide if something brings you joy, or if you just kind of have it because maybe I'll wear it, or it's functional, or whatever. And she said, if you only keep in your home what brings you joy, you'll have the right amount of stuff. You won't have too much stuff. And then the next part of her book is explaining that everything must have a place. It must always have a place, and it must always be returned to that place. It's not like you can't have things just lying on a surface somewhere with no home. Everything must have a home. And I think that's probably going to be the hardest part, is helping the children to get into the habit of getting things back where they belong. But we've just about finished. I've just got my sewing fabric. I've left my sort of things for last. The things that I needed the geek to help me with, and the children's rooms and all the rest, I've done, because he goes back to work tomorrow. But I left the things that I can still carry on with, you know, if he's not here, or, you know, the children are around. So that will be all my fabric and the final sort of yarn stuff that I need to sort out. But otherwise, we're pretty much done. So that's what I've been doing. So I've got a kind of a new or nice clean house for the new year. And the other new thing is I am recording on a new webcam this time, trying out a whole new setup. So we'll have to see how this works. And hence the new location, because I need to plug it into a different computer, and we'll just have to see how it goes. So you have to tell me what you think about this location. I know you get a lot more background than usual, where you used to just see me sitting on my chair against the wall over there somewhere. So yeah, I do have to admit that I do have right next to my new webcam, I have my old phone that I used to record on recording as well, kind of as a backup. So I hope it doesn't look like I'm squinting, because I'm trying to kind of look somewhere in the middle of the two lenses, but I kind of think like, feels like my eyes are bouncing from one to the other. But anyway, I just didn't want to end up having to record all of this on the new one and then it doesn't work, or something went wrong or whatever. So you'll just have to excuse me. We're trying this out, and we'll do our best. So yeah, that's our kind of my New Year's and bits of news and stuff. So let's move on to the knitting, because that's finished objects. I actually have some finished objects this time. I have, oh, I didn't even put them on sock blockers. I'm not going to go get them, sorry. I didn't think of that. I have my Christmas socks. As I said, I cast them off literally on Old Year's Eve, like just before midnight. I finished casting them off. And actually, this was the last one I cast off. And I cast off this red bit, but then it kind of had some white that came along one last stretch of the cast off, which I didn't like. So the next day I actually went back around, or half around, and then cast off again with, so it only had the red. Yeah. So this is, I'm like quite impressed with myself. I got a little book and I started sticking my yarn labels in it, because I often can't remember what it is or what to tell you. So like you'll see, there's the Mind the Gap socks and various things like that. So I thought if I stick them in here, then I can always remember what the different yarns are, and then I can tell you while I'm podcasting. So that one was the Twinkle sock base from Electric Carnation in the Pretty Tree colorway, and that's 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon, 5% stellina, 100 grams, 400 meters, or 437 yards. So I knit this on a 2.25 millimeter needle. I did the rounded toe, Tanya Murray's rounded toe. And I did the OMG heel, which I really quite like for self-striping yarn. So that was there, and then up the leg and a 1x1 twisted rib for the top. And I started them both on the green, but the one goes green to red and the other one goes green to white. So they're sort of opposite. But I quite fancy them. I'm quite chuffed. I know I finished them way after Christmas. There's like not really much time to wear them for Christmas, but I did actually wear them. I have worn them a few evenings. It's been kind of chillyish some evenings. You know, in Cape Town, we have very mixed. We've got a lot cooler weather than where I grew up in Pretoria. You couldn't wear knitted socks in Pretoria at this time of year. Although they've been having some rain actually, so maybe it has been a bit cooler. If you watch Wool Diaries, Sally's podcast, you'll know that she had a jumper on the other day. You know, she said it was cooler because it had been raining and things. I know there was hail I saw on somebody's Instagram, so maybe you could be wearing knitted socks at the moment. Anyway, so I have worn mine a couple of times, and I'm really very in love with them. And I think they came out great. So I will have Christmas socks in time for next Christmas. But I'm really, I mean, as I say, they would have been finished if I'd been able to knit. You know, when I'd hurt my hand, it had to knit a whole lot slower. But I don't mind. I mean, they for my sock drawer and they're done and stuff. So that was that. And the other thing I'm finished is my Bonnie. Can you see a moment? Now I'm gonna have to see. I'm sitting on the couch. Let me see if I can show you a bit here. The rest of it looks like. Oh, excuse me. Let me show my stomach here. Here's the bottom. Can you see? It's kind of got a rolled hem here. And I left it at a rolled hem actually. Which is actually right. I don't mind it. And then I've just got a little camisole underneath. You do need something underneath. Although when I showed my sister the pictures, so then you can get the rest of the view. So then there it goes down. And then this is the lacy bit here. Starts in this point and then comes up here. And then because you're increasing the stitches as you're going around the neck, but not on the shoulder, then when you cast off the shoulder, you naturally get this little scoopy bit in the front. What I did wrong though was, not wrong, I just sewed I did a 3-needle bind off on the shoulders before I blocked it. So what that meant is I couldn't really, because you've got the shoulders joined already, I couldn't really block the neck out or the lace part out as much as possible. You know, I could just sort of make it straight, but I couldn't. So I think next time what I'll do is I'm actually going to cast off the shoulders and just sew them closed, because it'll just be easier than trying to keep the stitches live, to do the 3. I mean, I don't think the benefit of the 3-needle bind off is that great that it isn't better actually just to block the neck out. I mean, or you could just put it on waist yarn and then block it and then do a 3-needle bind off. I mean, I just don't mind sewing it up that much that it would be, you know, such an issue. And yeah, I'm really very chuffed with it. It's come out very nicely. I might make it a tiny bit longer under the arms next time. Yeah, I think that would be the only thing that I would do different. But I think it fits nicely, and I'm really quite pleased with it. I was looking for I'm looking around. I was actually looking for the bag that had the pattern in to tell you which size I knitted. I don't know, it's not around here. Sorry. I think I knitted kind of like the medium-ish size. I think I knitted the 34 or something. I'll check and I'll put it on the bottom. So that was that, and I'm very, very pleased with it. I'd really love to knit another one, but since I've committed to trying to knit down my stash, I actually don't have any more lace weight stash that I could use. I was thinking maybe I could do it in sock weight. I know quite a few people have done it in sock weight, but I'm not sure that I have enough of a single color either. I'm not sure. My sister, who is hard to knit for, one of my sisters is very hard to knit for because she lives in a more tropical part of South Africa, in Durban, and so she wouldn't really wear knitted hats or knitted socks or anything like that. And she's quite particular with what she wears. She's a lot more fancy than me. So she's got a very specific style which isn't necessarily hand knits. But when I showed her this, she actually quite liked it. And she has an online bra and lingerie fitting company. And so she said she wouldn't mind one, and then she was going to wear like a bright blue bra underneath it and not with a camisole. So I may actually knit her one. I might have actually found something that my sister wouldn't mind me making for her. So I might knit her one as well. I'm not sure yet. And then maybe that'll allow me to buy yarn if it's going to be a gift. I don't know. We'll see how the stash down goes this year, and then maybe I'll buy some and make her that. So that's my Bonnie, and this was in the yarn. Let me just tell you. This was, I know I found it earlier when I was looking through. Oh yes, this was also Heartland. I'm saying also because I'm knitting other things in Heartland, but I haven't actually talked about Heartland yet. This was Sutherland Lace, Sweet Nothings. It's the colorway, and Sutherland Lace is 25% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 5% stellina. 800 meters per 100 grams. So that's the Sweet Nothings, and this was a gift to me from Claire, my friend Claire Devine. Her birthday gift, I think, not last year, the year before. So I'm really pleased to have used that. And those are my FOs for this time. So what am I working on? My work's in progress. As I said, I cast on my New Year's yarn on, well, just after midnight on New Year, actually. Oh my God, I should have put it in a tangle here now. I'm trying to show you it's tangled up on everything else in this bag. There we go. Right. So I have balled it up, and this is the one called New Year's Confetti by Heartland, and this is her sock base. And now, of course, I haven't. Did I stick these labels in? How good am I? Let's have a look. How good am I? No, I've stuck the other sock on it, but it's the same base, so I can tell you. It is Calvinia sock, high twist, 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, and it is 365 meters in 100 grams. So let me show you how that is knitting on. Again, I did the rounded toe by Tanya Murray, and there is my pretty sock. Isn't that nice? I'm really quite chuffed with it. And I am doing the Fish Lips Kiss heel on this one, like I did for the Geeks socks I gave him for Christmas. So I'm in the middle of the heel at the moment. So yeah. And I'm quite enjoying how it's sitting up, actually. It's really fun. It's kind of a bit different, which I'm really enjoying. So yes, that's my New Year's socks that I've cast on, and I'm just doing them vanilla. And the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and I'm just at the heel of the first one. That's how far I've got on those so far. And this is in my Keep Calm and Carry Yarn bag from Pinkhairgirl. And I said last time that she didn't know if she could get any more of these because the person that did the silk screening was selling the business, but she said she might have found someone else to do silk screening, and so she's going to keep us posted about whether she can get more of those bags printed, which would be really great because then you guys can buy them as well. Right, now my next project is in the bag that I got from Gina for my Christmas swap, and this is by Anne's Work Basket, and it's got a little owl on the zip. Oops, he's the wrong way around. There we go. And this is a really lovely bag. I like it. And this is my gift knitting. I remember last time I spoke about all the sort of reasons why I could have lots of projects going on at the same time. I know I gave Sally Wool Diaries the complete heebie-jeebies, as well as, sorry, I apparently need to apologize for insulting the Nespresso machine. Sally was very upset with me. She said insulting the Nespresso machine and then having like so many works in process that gave her the heebie-jeebies was nearly like a deal breaker for her. But the problem was me saying that I couldn't get it to make enough coffee and it was always cold. And then she said, well, if you read the manual, apparently, I mean, I didn't, it wasn't mine, I didn't set it up, that if the geek reads the manual, that there is a way to make it pour a longer, because it's like a long pour, but that isn't even very long. Like the espresso is a tiny one shot, and then the long pour is like two, but it's still like just fills the bottom of the cup. But there's a way that you can set it to sort of your cup height, like that it'll fill the cup up properly. So he's done that, and now it is much better, and he even warms the cup for me before, so the coffee does stay hot. Look, it's not boiling. By the time you've added the milk, it still can be, I mean, I could warm the milk every time and whatever. I really should be knitting myself some of those mug cozies that I'm often making to give away as gifts. So I think I need to make a bit of mug cozies. Yes, so I would apologize for insulting the Nespresso machine. It's much better now, and I am really quite enjoying it. So my humblest apology, Sally, for insulting the Nespresso machine. What on earth made me think of coffee in the middle of that? Oh, having loads of projects and freaking Sally out. So this is my gift project. So I'm allowed to have a gift project. And this is, sorry, I've balled it before. I don't think I showed you this last time. This came at the same time as the New Year's yarn, and I don't think I showed you. I'm not sure if I caught the color properly as well. Anyway, this is called Run the Gauntlet by Heartlam, and it's the same base, that Calvinia sock base, the one with the 80% merino, 20% nylon. And I got this at the same time as the New Year's yarn because I wanted to knit some socks for Claire for her birthday, and my sister is coming out at the end of the month, and so I want to send a whole bunch of stuff for Claire back with my sister. So I need to finish these socks. I need to finish my socks this month so that I can knit next month's socks, because I'm doing the soccer month in 2015. We've got a theme. Sally and I, every month has a theme, and then we knit one pair of socks every month. So I have to be finished January socks in time to be casting on the Valentine socks for February. And I need to finish Claire's socks for her birthday. And I would like to send a hat back with my sister for her, because it was her birthday in December and Christmas already. So I've got a bit of knitting to do. I'd like to do 2 hats for her if possible. I don't know if I'm going to get 2 pairs of hats, 2 pairs of hats, 2 pairs of socks and 2 hats finished by the end of the month. I'm not sure. We'll see what I can do. Anyway, so I cast on Claire's socks because I felt a little bit guilty knitting on my socks, knowing that hers have to be finished by the end of the month, or they can't go to England. I mean, if I don't finish mine in time, you know, the world is not going to end. Well, the world's not going to end if I don't finish Claire's socks either, but you know what I mean? I'll feel bad if I miss sending them to her, because, yeah. Anyway, so I've literally just cast on. I mean, there's not much there. And I've done a German twisted cast on. I tried to keep it very loose because last time my German twisted cast on, even though it's supposed to be a stretchy cast on, mine landed up quite tight. So I am hoping that I've done it loose enough this time. And I'm doing a 1x1 twisted rib to start with. And Claire's given me her foot measurements and all the rest. I think I'm going to make, it's a little bit daunting making socks for like the guru sock designer lady. I mean, Claire's got a whole book on sock anatomy, and she designs the most amazing socks and all the rest. I don't design socks because I'm quite new to knitting them. And yeah, you know, yeah, the whole sock thing is I quite like knitting them, but I quite like knitting vanilla and just sort of doing them to get them, not just to get them done, but they're an easy project to have in your bag. And I like to just have them as a TV project, really. And so I don't like to think terribly much while I'm doing my socks, although I do sometimes do pattern socks. And I don't know which pattern to do for Claire, but with the time frame that I've got, I really thought it probably should just be vanilla. But she very kindly said that she loves vanilla socks. I'm sure if I'd done a really complicated pattern, she would have been ultra impressed, but she's just going to have to love vanilla socks, because I think it's all I'm going to get round to doing. And then I'm not sure what heel I'm going to use yet. Something with a heel flap, I think. Maybe an eye of partridge or something like that. I think I might do for the heel. But it is a little bit daunting knitting socks for a sock guru. That's why I'm kind of keeping it simple. I'd rather have just simple vanilla socks that are in colors that she likes. She really likes grey. Well, she loves grey. It's like not... get it wrong here. Claire really loves grey. She loves everything and anything in grey. This does have a bit of blue in it, but it does sort of have the greys and the charcoals, and then sort of denim blue and a bit of sort of maybe navy blue in it. So yeah, I hope she's going to like them. And because she designs so many socks, a lot of them are for magazines or for other places, and you knit samples and you send them off. She actually has very few socks for herself. So I thought this was a nice way, you know, that, like, what is it, the cobbler's children have no shoes. You know, the sock designer has no socks. So I'm knitting her some socks. So this is my other project at the moment. So I really shouldn't talk and try and do twisted rib, because I have to look down a whole lot more, and then that's a bit rude to you guys. So this is my gift project. So as I said, I can have a gift project and I can have my socks on the go. I'm not going to have terribly much more than that this month, because I need to get my sister's hat finished as well. The garment that I'm going to cast off, because now that I've cast off my bonnie, the garment I'm going to cast on is my towel, but I might only do that depending how everything else goes this month. That can be sort of ongoing over the next couple of months. So that doesn't have to be done right now. But that is going to be the next garment I cast on for my garment category for whips. Then the only other thing I've got is my sock yarn blanket, which I don't think is any further than when I showed you last time. And it still looks a bit odd because I am fixing the direction where I'm going and what I'm doing with it. But I have decided I'm definitely going to make this row here actually the bottom row. Let's see this properly at all. It's all over the place. So there's actually where my needle is on, and I'm busy adding a green one here at the moment. This is where I'm going to actually add them on and make one decent bottom row here, just because I didn't like that one on the bottom row. And then I'm going to start going up in between the rest properly. And you'll notice on this end that I've started sewing in the ends. I haven't been good. I didn't get that far, but I have started sewing in the ends because I really couldn't face it, leaving it all for the last. It would just be horrible to only have ends to sew in. And I started putting in this green one, but then just decided there actually is more urgent knitting for me to do at the moment, so I really can't be faffing around with knitting this when there's no time frame on it. Once I've got it all straightened out and got my bottom row put on it properly, then I'll be able to put a marker on it and then remember where I am every time, because I'm going to forget what I have shown you. I'm actually almost out of my own scraps. There are quite a few that I could probably repeat, but I don't want to repeat them so close. I'd much rather repeat them higher up in the blanket. I've got a few more scraps. So I've got now the Christmas socks that I can add, and then hopefully I'll have my New Year socks, and I'll have Claire's sock left over. So I'm going to have a few as I go along. I'm definitely going to have a few more that I could add as I go along. So yes, that's my sock yarn blanket, and this is in my bag by Elaine Ella B that she made for me. So a hibiscus bag, which I really like. So that is that's all my whips at the moment, which is not so much. I know there's other stuff hibernating, but that really is all I'm working on for now. My acquisitions is actually also a very short section today, because I'm trying not to buy terribly much yarn. Although I'm going to have to buy some yarn for my sister's hat as soon as Heartland opens. I want to get her Moira Bulky, which is the 100% baby alpaca, which is the same yarn, same base that Claire did her Lapsang hat in, and that's the one I want to knit for my sister, because it's bulky and it'll knit up fast, and I really like the pattern, and then it's reversible and all the rest. Thank you to everyone else that gave suggestions of different hats to knit. I want to knit a lot more hats this year, so there were some really great suggestions, and I'm going to be trying out quite a few of those. I'm really enjoying seeing all the different hats that are being suggested. The other hat that I really would quite like to knit this year is a sock head hat. I know that Cara from Knit All the Things podcast had a sock head along knitting the sock head hat last year. I don't know if it's still ongoing, but I definitely want to knit a sock head hat this year as well. So because I'm trying to stash down, I haven't really been buying yarn, but my friend Gundula Googs from Germany was visiting her parents here in South Africa, and she contacted me and asked me if I would like this Floromania, which she had bought as a gift for somebody, and then they hadn't come. I think it must have been like a party or a swap or something. I'm not sure it's coming out as bright on the screen as it is in real life. I mean, it's really pretty luminous. So anyway, the person that she was supposed to give it to didn't come to the party or wherever she was supposed to see them, and she said this would literally burn her retina to work with it. So she was never going to knit with it, and she wondered if I would like it before she sort of offered it up for general on the group. So I said yes, please, I would absolutely love it. And so she came and dropped it off for me, which was really lovely. And I'm very excited to knit with this at some point. It's crazy bright. Apparently, I haven't listened, but apparently there was a review on the Knitmore Girls that said that the Floromania yarns bled a lot. And I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone else has had experience with that. I know Cece Java Pearl knitted with some Floromania. I don't know if you've had experience of it bleeding. There's also been some talk about fixing yarn with citric acid. Do you fix your indie dye, hand-dyed yarns the first time you wash them? Do you wash them with citric acid? Quite a lot of people were saying that they, do a citric acid bath of their indie dyed or their own hand-dyed yarn before they sort of wash it. Let me know what you normally do. And if you've used this kind of colorway, not necessarily this Floromania, but there are others, and if there was a lot of bleed or sort of runoff of the color fading or whatever. So yes, that was my yarn acquisition this week. Now what I need to do is I need to add these things, and I know that I've done my whole stash, but what I'm worried about now is I'm not going to remember what was in my stash and what wasn't, and if I've actually managed to go down in numbers. So what I want to do is I need to add this one, and I need to add the Run the Gauntlet and the New Year's one. I don't think I've done those three, so I need to add those. And then what I want to do is I want to kind of do a total for the beginning, like I had, although this one came in just after, doesn't matter. Anyway, so I'm going to add those in as my total. So I want to say like this many balls of sock yarn, like fingering weight yarn, this many balls of lace weight, this many balls of DK, and this many of whatever, so that I can have a list, so that at the end of the year I can compare and say, okay, I had 20 balls of sock yarn to start with, and I had 15 at the end, so I could actually compare what I had with what I end with. So that's my next task. And also to put my whips and projects. I'm really bad at putting my projects on Ravelry. I don't know why. I must just do it. So I need to put up some projects, and I need to get my works in progress, so that when I finish them, that I can count the yarn for buying more yarn, or for, so I can say that I stashed down. Because some of the yarns that are works in progress I haven't added into my stash, so I need to do that. So that's my last bit of getting my stash ready for Stash Down 2015. So I thought this was really fun to add in, though, even though it's supposed to be going down. But gifts don't count. I can't count every gift somebody gives me. I'm going to count the total in the end, but I didn't buy it, so I haven't broken the rules. And occasionally, if I need to buy something for a gift that I don't have in my stash, sometimes I'm going to have to do that. So it's just the way it is. But that was my only acquisition, so that one's quite short and sweet this time. The last thing I want to talk to you about is our knit along, and I keep realizing that a couple of these past episodes I haven't even mentioned it. I don't know where my brain was. Anyway, the knit along. We're having a knit along in our Pinkhairgirl design group, and it was started on the 12th of October, the day that the Mzansi South Africa on My Needles book launched. And it is because Mzansi is all about where I live. It's all about South Africa, and it's got landscape pictures from South Africa, knitting inspired by that, for those of you that are new to the podcast. And so I wanted to know where you're from, because a lot of me telling you all about the podcast and the book and all the rest is so much about me and what I'm doing. So it'll be really nice in the knit along to have a way of you to show me where you live and some of the things that you like, or the colorways inspired by where you live, whatever. So the knit along is called Where I Live, and there is a chatty thread, and then there's a finished objects thread, and we try not to chat in the finished objects thread, just so I can do the random number generator at the end to pick the winners. And there are winners for lots of things. It's not just you have to have completed stuff to be in the draw to win. So you can win if you put objects in the finished objects. You obviously get an entry for those, but you also get extra entries for knitting. You get 2 extra entries for knitting in a pattern from the Mzansi book, but it doesn't have to be from the book. You can knit any pattern you like. So if you do knit a pattern from the Mzansi book, you essentially get 3 entries instead of 1. So yeah. But yes, any pattern, any yarn, whatever you like, and anything that you can convince me in some way has to do with where you live. And I mean, it's pretty general. I mean, it can be anything from colors of a tree nearby, or scenery, or something to do with a place that you enjoy going, or the weather is cold, therefore you need more knitwear, or the weather is warm and therefore you need a little light top, or whatever it is. It can be anything that sort of reminds you of where you live. And pop that into the finished objects thread. But there are also prizes for the chattiest person in the chatting thread. There'll be a random draw from the chat thread as well. So just participating and chatting and stuff gives you an entry, chance to enter. And the most finished objects will win a prize. The Instagram, I'll choose one from Instagram as well, with the I think it's PHG Pinkhairgirl whereilivekal, but I'll just double check. I'll put the hashtag on the bottom for that. And then there's the best story at the end. The person that's had the nicest story, and there have been some beautiful photos and stories that have come in so far. So I'm really, really enjoying that. So that's the knit along, and it runs until the 31st of January. I extended it because with Christmas and Christmas knitting and everything, there were so many deadlines that I just wanted people to feel relaxed enough to have time after Christmas and after all this mad holiday rush to finish. And so I've just given you the whole rest of this month to finish working on projects. And it's really nice to see the projects coming in now. I'm loving seeing what you guys are doing. It's just some beautiful projects coming in. I'm really enjoying it. So yes, come and post your finished objects there. Come join the knit along, come chat. And yes, the prizes will be done at the end of the month. I'm not going to show them every episode because there are quite a lot of prizes and it takes up quite a lot of time, but I'll show you next time. There is Heartland yarn in a lace weight like the jacaranda shawl, and in the same yarn foundry as the Josie socks. There are buttons, little African animal buttons. There are project bags. There is what else? Copies of the book, Wilson's toffees, all sorts of things. There's all sorts of there's a tea towels with South African recipes on them, and yeah, all sorts of things that have got a bit of a South African flavor to them. I've tried to collect stuff from South Africa, beadwork and various things like that. So come and join the knit along and show me what you're knitting. You can really just about put anything you're knitting at the moment into that category. I don't mind if you're knitting for other knit alongs or whatever. It doesn't matter to me at all. As long as we started after the 12th of October when the knit along launched, it's absolutely fine with me. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode with me when I finally managed to get my chicken quiet. And you guys have said you quite enjoy the little music for the different segments, so I'll carry on with that. But now I need to go let my chicken out of her box so she can carry on squawking. Our neighbors have got to hate us. I have 3 really noisy children that do have no volume control. I have a yappy Dachshund cross, which likes to, this is Pippin I'm talking about, that likes to run around the garden yapping at everything. And then, of course, today we had a chicken squawking from before 6 in the morning. So, I mean, like, they have got to love us. Anyway, let me let the chicken out. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye. As you can see, Leia was in no way harmed by having been in the box in the garage, and she's still being noisy. They're not as noisy. I don't know if she's going to go now to the box and go scream at the other chicken. Let's see. Hey Leia. Noisy girl.
That's why I couldn't record with her out earlier on.